Hello, everyone, and welcome to the League of Ireland show. It's Paul Tierney here, and I'm joined by Gary Spain as usual for our weekly roundup from the League of Ireland. And this week we actually have a bonus European encounter as well, obviously with Shamrock Rovers game last night. But we'll start off with Gary. Gary, how are you?
I'm good, all good, Paul. Buzzing after last night. Even as a neutral, it was great to be in Tala, and as you mentioned, a fantastic win for Rovers.
Yeah, definitely. I was there myself. Fantastic atmosphere. Over 7,000 there again. That's about the sixth or seventh time this season up in Tallaght. So great to see. We'll start off with that anyway, since it's in the talking points at the minute. Shamrock Rovers did get a 3-0 win over Hibernians of Malta in the Champions League qualifying first round. Ronan Finn after 25 minutes from a beautiful cross from Rory Gaffney. Dylan Watts from the same side as well. Rory Gaffney set it up after 40 minutes, 2-0 up at half time. Rovers very in control in the first half. And then Rory Gaffney got his deserved goal after 77 minutes. But, Gary, was he lucky to be on the pitch for his goal?
Yeah, I think he was lucky to be on the pitch. I think he said it himself actually afterwards. And having said that, the linesman was closer than any of us, and apparently he was in the referee's ear with the fourth official as well, saying yellow card. So I'm not going to argue with that. But yeah, he was lucky, particularly in Europe, actually, where stuff like that normally gets punished by a red card. I know the laws of the game are the same across all the various facets of football, but I think in a European tie, you'd often see that given as a red card. But thankfully, it was only a yellow, and he stayed on the pitch and got the third goal. And as you mentioned, he made the first two with two particularly good left wing cross for Ronan Finn. I think he said himself maybe the ball for Dylan Watts. Dylan had to improvise a bit, but look, it was three great goals. It was a fantastic performance by Rovers. They were in total control. First half, if anything, they probably should have gone in more than 2-0 up. Stephen Bradley even said that himself afterwards. I looked at the phone a couple of times and it was 80% possession, 78% possession. I forgot to actually check it at half time, but it was total dominance. Absolute. Second half was actually quite more even. Hibernians hit the bar. Substitute came on, and very pacey. He was a threatened to break. He hit the bar, and another one of their players got in 1-on-1 with Alan Manis and hit the post. So could have been a very different game had it gone back to 2-1, but surely the third goal finishes the tie. Even going out to the heat of Malta, it's very hard to see Hibs. They're just not good enough. Rovers are just a better side. And so hopefully they've already got 1 foot in the next round and they should be okay.
Yeah, definitely. Do you think maybe, and I know we don't know much about Hibs, but we did hear they had a lot of suspensions from last year, considering I think it was the last qualifying round before the Conference League. There was a few dodgy decisions involved in one of their last games, captain and vice captain out. Do you think maybe it might have been a bit more competitive with the likes of those players there, or would Rovers still would have been a little bit too strong, considering they've got half a season under the belt, whereas Hibernians have only got 3 weeks pre-season?
Yeah, I think a couple of things there. First of all, I think summer football does make a huge difference. I've always been a big fan of it from the European perspective because our players are flying. They're in mid-season. Yeah, look, they had 4 players suspended. It was actually Rob Hennessy was the referee for that match last year against the Estonian team. So I'm sure Rovers are very thankful for that. But yeah, I mean, well, if you look at it as well, Jack Byrne, Graham Burke, Danny Mandrew were also missing for Rovers. I mean, I know Danny Mandrew's gone now, but arguably 3 of their best, if not certainly 3 of their better players. But yeah, you have to say, I think 1 or 2 of those guys are actually back for the next return leg. But I think Rovers are just too good for them. They just
Yeah.
looked a far superior side. So I don't think it would make a big difference. I actually expect Rovers to go and win in Malta. And just from a neutral look, Stephen Bradley is going to be focused on getting through to the next round, and that's all that matters from Rovers' perspective. But from an Irish perspective and just pride in the league and everything, if they were to win, it would help the country coefficient, would help possibly aid the seeding. I know it's the club coefficient is mainly important in Europe now, but the higher up we can get our league ranked in Europe will also help. And it is all sorts of benefits, like getting a club in the UEFA Youth League or improving our chances. So a win for Rovers in Malta would also help a lot. Now, maybe I'm being a bit greedy here, but the main thing is that Shamrock Rovers get into the next round. I think they're 95% there at this stage. I can't see it being turned around. But it would be really nice if they could go there and win as well.
Yeah, definitely it would. Just to mention as well, you did catch up with Rory Gaffney and Stephen Bradley after the game. That is available on our YouTube channel and on our various social media platforms as well. So if you want to have a listen to what the lads thought, definitely give that a listen from interviews from Gary Spain, obviously, who was there last night along with myself. Well, I think we'll leave that one there because I think we're both fairly confident that Rovers are going to get through and what looks like play against Ludogorets, who did win 2-0 last night as well. But we'll move on into the Premier Division from the weekend. And from Shamrock Rovers, we go to Shamrock Rovers, the league leaders again. They were up in Ballybofey, up in Ballybofey on Friday night. And another Rory Gaffney goal and another Rovers win, 1-0 over Finn Harps. But it was a bit tougher than it looked, because it looked like, 1-0, it looked fairly comfortable on the stats. But apparently Harps put it right up to them like they usually do.
Yeah, look, I don't know. I can't even name a team or a time when a team has got an easy game. Certainly gone up there supporting, anytime I've gone up there as a Limerick fan, there's never been an easy game up there. And my first visit to Finn Park was in 1980, 79-80 season. It's a tough place to go. It always has been. Under Ollie Horgan, Harps will battle till they drop, and you'll never get it easy. That was a big 3 points for Shamrock Rovers. That was a good win. Any 3 points you take out of Finn Park is hard earned. And Rory Gaffney's actually been, look, he was man of the match last night without question, but he's actually having a fantastic season. Another man I know from his time in Limerick, and absolutely delighted for him. And I think one thing I did ask Stephen Bradley last night, and I think you see the benefit of this, is Rovers have had the benefit now of playing a couple of extra games or getting their games played. The 4 European teams all played a few weeks ago, and it's going to stand to all our clubs in Europe, I believe, but in particular to Shamrock Rovers, because they've got this weekend off. Their sole focus now is going to be on the away leg in Malta, and then they probably have, as you say, Ludogorets coming on straight after it. They've picked up the points. They won the 2 tough Dublin derbies. Then they had another tough game in Ballybofey. They've got a bit of a buffer there, and maybe they can take their eye off the ball a little bit in the league, and still I would expect them to be champions, because the real focus now has got to be to get into the groups, to get group stage football in Europe. And it's good they got the games played. I see the Shels game is off in a couple of weeks' time. Again, that's going to help them to prepare for Europe. And because assuming Rovers get through, they have a minimum now of 8 European matches, and hopefully another 6. So that's a lot of games. It's going to impact on their league run-in. But the fact they've got games played, they've picked up 3 points like they did in Ballybofey last Friday night, will be absolutely crucial for their title challenge.
Yeah, definitely. And just on the defeat to Dundalk a couple of weeks ago, I know we've already spoken about that several times. Do you think that was maybe a good thing for them and it woke them up a bit? Maybe they didn't have as constructive a break as they thought they might have. Woke them up straight away. They worked hard for the next couple of weeks, and they've got 3 wins by 1 goal in the last couple of weeks in the league. So they're huge wins, and they're always the most important ones if you think about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's those 1-goal wins, particularly the 2-1 away win at Pats. It's those kind of results do win titles. Yeah, they got quite a shock by Dundalk. They were also beaten by Drogheda before that. So, as you said, probably a bit of an eye-opener. But I think those last 3 wins, look, if you're going to win a league, it's not even the 4-0 wins that actually win you a title. It's the 1-0 wins. It's the 2-1 wins away from home. Go to Ballybofey and win 1-0 as opposed to drawing 1-1. that's what wins titles. I mean, it's great and play all the silky football and they can blow teams away and win 3 or 4-0 in Tala. And look, that's fantastic. If you're a Rovers fan, I'm sure you love that. But it's the teams that can go away from home and battle, win 2-1 at Richmond Park, beat Bohs. It's 2 1-0 home wins over Bohs this season. They were certainly very lucky to win the first one. I think they probably deserve the second one. And it's those kind of wins, those kind of results, win the big derbies, win the tough away games, and that's what wins leagues. And you have to say Rovers are strong favourites now to win the league and can probably afford to rest a few players in some of the games over the next couple of months to absolutely focus on getting group stage football in Europe.
Yeah, definitely. That is the most important thing. And it's what we have said from the start of this season. We'll move on from Shamrock Rovers anyway, because there are other teams in the league as well, because we've talked about them for the first 13 minutes of this show. Rightly so, but there is more teams to speak about. We'll start off in Dalymount Park on Friday night. A bit of a cracker here. Bohemians 2, Derry City 3. Derry getting their second win from 2. Joe Thompson had them ahead. Ali Coote equalised for the home side. Matty Smith got made it 2-1 after 60 minutes. A Dawson Devoy own goal, not like him, after 75. And then he scored a cracker to make it a tense finish for Derry, but they did get the 3 points in the end. And that's another big 3 points for Derry.
Big 3 points for Derry. I mean, they'd gone on, what was it, seven matches, or 7 or 8 matches without a win. Came down to Dublin, got that win against UCD. Now coming down again, that's a big 3 points for them to go to Dalymount Park. And it was important as well. You mentioned the goal in the 60th minute. Bohs had just equalised in the 59th minute. And it was a real kick in the teeth to them to concede within a minute or whatever it was. And so, yeah, look, it's not good times at Dalymount. I think they would expect to have been further up the table, challenging for Europe. It is tough, though, when you lose your better players on a consistent basis at the end of every season. And but a big 3 points for Derry. And another club who are focused on Europe, they've got a big European tie against Riga tomorrow, and in the Brandywell, and really hoping they can win that. It's going to be a tough one, but hopefully they can do it.
Yeah. And look, they're going in on good form as well. So even if they get a home leg win, that'll give them a good chance. We'll speak about Bohs quickly. You mentioned there things aren't going well. I don't think they've strung 2 wins in a row together this season so far. UCD coming up tomorrow evening. They'll definitely be looking to get 3 points there, but it's a ground where they've dropped points already this season.
Yeah, I mean, I've probably spoken before about the advantage maybe the likes of Finn Harps and Drogheda have over UCD, because you don't really have I mean, if you go to Ballybofey or if you go to Head in the Game Park, you know you're going to be in a battle. Neither side have a big budget. Most of the other Premier Division clubs have significantly higher budgets and can buy better players or buy can just spend more money on the squad, on the team and everything. But they are tough places to go. UCD is a lovely place to go. The pitch is normally in excellent condition. You don't really have to battle. You don't have a hostile crowd in your back. The chances are Bohs will probably have more fans there than UCD. They're lovely people. They're very nice. Not that they're not nice people in Drogheda and Ballybofey as well. But you go out on the pitch in Ballybofey and Drogheda and you know you're in a battle. The crowd will be heckling you. They'll be on your backs. For Bohs, they can go out and they can play their football in the UCD Bowl. Lovely pitch. Everything's set up for them. And it does help. It is a Dublin derby, but I would still expect Bohs to bounce back and probably get the 3 points.
Yeah, I'd completely agree. Just one more thing on it as well. I don't like talking about this, but do you think Keith Long is under a bit of pressure? I think it'd be very, very unfair to say it, but it has not been a good season, probably worse than they've expected.
He is under pressure because, well, I'm reading stuff on social media. Now, I'm also reading all sorts of ridiculous stuff like Bohs talking about changing ownership structures and everything. They've been a members club since 1890. That's not going to change. So you have to take some of this with a pinch of salt. I don't think he should be under pressure. I think Keith Long is a phenomenal manager. He's done an incredible job there. And every single season, they're losing their better players. And he has done incredibly well to keep finding players, to keep rebuilding, and probably to overachieve with what he's got. And okay, they missed out in the cup final last season. Look, that was a kick of a ball. It was anything between the two teams. That does mean they've missed out in Europe, and they're in a battle now, I think, and probably struggling to make one of the European places. Of course, they can still win the FAI Cup. League clubs haven't even entered that yet. That starts at the end of the month. But that's probably the best route into Europe at the moment. Or else, I suppose, fourth spot is still very much up for grabs. But they probably wouldn't even be favourites now for fourth position. And fourth only gets Europe if one of the top 3 or 4 wins the cup, of course. And that's going to be the target. He is under pressure. I don't think he should be, but there certainly is an element in the Bows support that is putting him under pressure as it stands.
Yeah, definitely. I've seen it myself out there a couple of times this season, and in particular at the first game at the UCD Bowl. We'll move on. Speaking about UCD, they were up in Dundalk on Friday evening, and it was another comfortable win for Dundalk, 3-0. David McMillan after 51 minutes, Greg Sloggett against his old side after 57, and Keith Ward with a 93rd minute goal to seal the win. From what I've seen reviews of this game and on Footy Adventures as well, which was blogging it too, it wasn't all Dundalk, and they were struggling for a lot of it.
Yeah, they had to battle to break UCD down. Great for David McMillan, of course, another former UCD guy. But there's so many former UCD players in the league. But it was great for him to come in and actually get a goal and make the breakthrough. But it was one of those games. I was talking to a friend of mine, Dundalk fan. Okay, appreciate we're all biased towards our own clubs, but it did look like there was only ever going to be one result, and it was just a case of when the goal was going to come. But they did have to battle to break UCD down. It did take till at the 51st minute, as you said. And but after that, it probably ran out comfortable winners. I think UCD have been unfortunate this season. Colin Whelan he's out for the season with a cruciate injury, and they've lost Liam Kerrigan now, and they are absolutely 2 crucial players that were vital in their promotion run last season. And they're probably 2 players that would walk into any Premier Division side. And to lose the 2 of them is going to be a massive loss. So, look, it's going to be a very tough run in for UCD. I can't see them finishing anywhere but 10th and getting relegated. But time will tell.
Yeah, time will tell. I'm not 100% sure if I'm heading down there tomorrow. I might be able to. If I am, I'll be working for Irish Football Fan TV, and maybe they can get a bit of a performance going in a Dublin derby, because they have been quite good at home when I've seen them so far this season. We'll move on quickly to the last Friday evening game. It was out in Inchicore. St. Pat's won 3-0 against Drogheda United. Billy King got the opener for Pats after 41 minutes, and then the 2 Doyles, Owen first after 86, and Mark Doyle against his own old side after 90 minutes. A comfortable win for Pats. Drogheda be a bit disappointed with that, but it looked like it wasn't really a 3-0 game with those 2 late goals.
Yeah, I think Pats are another team that they had to battle to break Drogheda down. It was an important win for Pats coming after the totally dominating in Ballybuffet for something like 88 minutes, being 2 up and only drawing 2-2. So that was a real kick in the teeth for them. So to come back, it was important for them to beat Drogheda at home. Probably of Pats, Bows and Sligo, Pats have probably the best chance of either getting into one of the top 3, for the European spots, or at least getting 4th, which may well end up being a European place. I think that's got to be the target for all of those clubs at this stage. And even realistically for Derry and Dundalk, I think Europe is probably the target. Maybe they hold outside hopes of the title, but I think that's tough to see. So, yeah, it was a good win for Pats, an important win for Pats, and another team that are hopefully coming into form with their European tie coming up in a couple of weeks. And I see tickets went on sale today at 12 o'clock for that tie as well. I'm sure that's going to sell out very, very quickly.
Yes, more than likely. A good win for Pats, as you mentioned. And we'll go quickly on to Saturday evening. Sligo Rovers against Shelbourne. Bit of a controversial game, this, from what I've seen and heard, particularly from the away team's opinion. Shels were ahead, though. Brian McManus put them ahead after 5 minutes. Max Mata equalised after 23. Aidan Keena got a double, the first in the 36 minutes. Sligo went in 2-1 ahead, and then a penalty in the 93rd minute. Gary, Shels with 2 goals disallowed and a dodgy penalty as well. A couple of offside decisions as well. From what I've seen, I've only seen a couple of them. I haven't seen all of them, but disappointed night. And Damien Duff was not a happy man, but a big win for John Russell and Sligo, though, in the European hunt.
A huge win for Sligo to come from behind, and as you mentioned, Adrian Keena, he's the top scorer in the league now, I believe. And look, I don't really want to get into the criticising referees and whatever about offside decisions and all that, but yeah, Damien Duff has probably reason to be upset. He's probably had a few run-ins with match officials this season, and maybe with some justification. I know he was very unhappy with some of the decisions in Oriel Park as well. Look, a tough one, an important win for Sligo. Shels, I don't think Shels are really in the hunt for any of the European spots, and they're comfortably safe from relegation, even from the playoff spots. So maybe, look, Damien Duff won't be happy, fans won't be happy, but maybe they'll have one eye on the FAI Cup at this point anyway. I think that's potential for Shels to go on a cup run. Maybe not much for them in the league for the rest of the season. I don't know. You know Shels better than I do.
Well, I probably would have been happy with this at the start of the season, to be honest with you, Gary, but it's kind of stalled a little bit since the break and just before it with the defeat to Rovers. You got to mention as well, it's a big game on Friday if you think about it, against Finn Harps. If Finn Harps win, there's only a couple of points in it. So, Shels really need to get a result there. Have been beaten twice by Harps so far this season, so that's an important game at Talca on Friday. But just to mention Sligo as well, they've got Town coming up tomorrow night as well. Both European games are live on LOI TV as well. They're away first. Gary, it's an important game and a game they can win.
Yeah, definitely. Look, it's a very winnable tie, and there's a very attractive prize for the winners, because Motherwell of Scotland waiting in the next round. I would expect Sligo to win the tie. I know they've got a massive travelling support. Flights out of Knock, flights out of Dublin, people going over on the ferry. I think it's something like 400 fans are making the trip over. So it's going to be some trip that they're already over there. I'm sure it's the match is tomorrow night. But what a trip for the Sligo fans. And I hope they do it. I really do. And I expect they will win. I mean, it is a matter of just having the focus on the game, making sure that's the priority, and getting the right result. And I do think our league is stronger than the Welsh League, and Town are by no means the best team in the Welsh League either. So hopefully Sligo Rovers can go there and get a result and finish the job in the showgrounds next Thursday.
Yeah, definitely, hopefully. And John Russell, just to say, has done a fantastic job so far with Sligo Rovers. I think he's got 11 points from the 5 games he's been there, which is great going considering how much they were struggling before that. I did see them a couple of times before Liam Buckley's departure, and they did look like they were struggling a lot. That wraps up the Premier Division anyway. We can move on into the First Division, and we'll start off with the league leaders on Friday evening down in the Carlisle game. I was meant to go to. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it. Cork City were 3-1 winners. Now they've scored 9 at the Carlisle so far this season. That'll be it unless they play again in the cup competitions. Keane Murphy, Rory Keating and Jonas Hakkinen got the goals for Cork. Darragh Lynch did get one back for Bray. I think it's his 6th of the season now, or his 5th maybe. Good going for him. Connor Clifford sent off. Gary, another good win for Cork, another dominating win for Cork.
Yeah, look, they it's a 2-horse race now at the top of the table. Cork, certainly, I've seen them against Treaty United. Maybe that's a bad judgment because they've blown us away. I don't even want to talk about our games against Cork City, to be honest. But to me, they look the most impressive side in the division. They've blown a lot of teams away, not just Treaty United. Looked like a comfortable enough win for them on Friday. Darrell Lynch did give Bray a little bit of hope, but as I said, Cork got the third goal shortly after that. And by all accounts, they're just simply the better side. They had a really good weekend the weekend before that when they picked up full points and Galway dropped points. So they are the league leaders. Still a bit of a way to go, and they still have to play Galway a couple of times, but you have to think Cork are looking good at the moment for the first division title and the one automatic promotion spot.
Yeah, definitely. It looks like it anyway. From Cork, we moved to who you've just mentioned, Galway and Waterford, the chasing pack. Galway got a 1-0 win at Eamon DC Park. Killian Broder got the goal for the home side. And look, listen, it's a Waterford who've just lost Louis Britton to Cork City, which we just missed out on our show last week as well. Maybe a bit shot shy against Galway. Galway, who actually needed those 3 points as well. Very, very, they only got 1 point from the 2 games before that. So they're still right on the heels, only 4 points in it.
Yeah, that was absolutely must win for Galway. And Limerick man, former Limerick player, Killian Broder with the goal. He doesn't score too many, but he's certainly a very good defender, key part of the Galway defence, and pops up with a crucial goal. That was simply a must-win game. I don't think they could have let the gap go to any more than 4 points. Waterford had been on a fantastic run. I think it was 8 wins on the bounce. And as you said, I logged off the show last week and read that Louis Britton had gone to Cork, a massive blow for Waterford. And another big coup for Cork was actually keeping Barry Coffey, who, what I had heard of last week, he was moving to Galway and he was joining Galway. And I don't know. I actually don't know what's happened, but certainly his loan period had finished, but or whatever. Anyway, he's now staying at Cork City for the rest of this season. So look, they're 2 crucial players. Waterford are really going to miss Louis Britton's goals. Great coup for Cork. Barry Coffey was a key part of their midfield. Great for them to keep him and also stop their main rivals, Galway, from getting him as well. And I'm sure Galway are going to make some signings in the window as well. John Caulfield talked about him many times, a superb manager. He's doing a really great job there. But it's a real coup for Cork and for Colin Healy, and they're the ones that are there to be caught at the moment. A 4-point lead is a lot in a division of 9 teams, and there are some games when it's very hard to see Cork dropping points. Unfortunately, one of them is next month against Treaty again. But even when Cork play the likes of Athlone, I won't actually say Cove Ramblers, because the Cork derbies have always been difficult for them this season. But they did actually, I suppose, having said Athlone, they needed the 94th minute winner to beat Athlone earlier in the season. So maybe it's just Treaty United, but they have
Bray.
Although I think they struggled in Turner's Cross against Bray as well. But I suppose my point is that the top 2 will be looking at a lot of games and picking up the 3 points. So if Galway are going to bridge the gap, it's the 2 games remaining between the 2 clubs that are probably going to be needed. They're going to need it to at least Galway are going to need to pick up at least 4 points out of 6, I think, to bridge that gap.
Yeah, and it's going to be extremely, extremely tough for them, but they will be well up for it. We move on to Treaty United's game against St. Coleman's Park on Friday evening. A 2-0 win for yourselves. Known goal from O'Riordan, and Willie Armshaw got the goal after 66 minutes. Gary, quite comfortable. And Shane Keegan has a job in his hands down there by the looks of it.
He has. Now, it was his first game, and he had, I think, was 7 on the injury list, and Jason Abbott suspended as well. Comfortable, I'm not so sure. Well, I know I was there for IFF TV, but also as a fan. Treaty with the better side, definitely, in the first half. The own goal, as you mentioned, good work by Matt Keane and Jack Lynch on the right. Good cross in. second half, whatever Shane Keegan said to the team at half time, it certainly worked, because they came out, they were playing down into the dressing room goal, for those of you who know St. Coleman's Park. And I think that team in the second half just get that bit of an impetus. I've always said, if you're the away captain, you try and turn the team around, because Cove like to play down the slope into that goal in the second half. Anyway, the first 20 minutes of the second half was all Cove Ramblers. They hit the bar, and one cleared off the line. Some Cove fans are claiming it was over the line. And it was really rocky. Treaty were really defending well, but hanging on a bit. Tommy Barrett sends on Willie Armshaw, and 30 seconds later, it's 2-0. And what a substitution. And that it was comfortable after that. The second goal definitely killed the game. So, yeah, a bit of work for Shane Keegan to do. But I think he'll be happy enough with the commitment. He, the 17-year-old on the pitch. They played well. He did change the tactics at halftime. So I don't know. I think, I think the season, there's no way Cove can actually get into the playoff spot. So a lot of it will be rebuilding for next season. But I'm sure they'll have 1.5 eyes on a massive cup tie with Cork City at the end of the month. And that's one they would desperately love to win. Cork have had some real battles with Cove this season. They were lucky to get out of Coleman's Park with a 3-2 win. Another game that might have had a couple of dubious refereeing decisions. And they had a real battle there a couple of weeks ago for a 1-0 win at Turner's Cross, and some desperate defending earned Cork that win. And I was talking to a Cork City fan actually about that game, and he said they were blessed delighted to hear the final whistle, and blessed not to concede an equaliser. So Cove have certainly probably given them far better game than we have. But so I think Shane Keegan will be building for next season. He's had a good record in the league. We had him as academy, head of the academy in Treaty, so he's actually a loss to us as well. But best of luck to him in Cove. And they've also signed Charlie Fleming, our former right back. He's got a new job in Cork and unfortunately couldn't commit to playing for Treaty. I know he'll do a really good job for them.
Yep, definitely. Very, very interesting as it goes on. And Gary, you interviewed, I think it was Shane Keegan and Tommy Barrett on Friday, and both of those are available on Twitter and Facebook, isn't it?
Yeah, both managers. Yeah,
both managers from St. Coleman's Park on Friday evening. Gary Spain interviewing them there. So if you want to have a look at those interviews, please do. And the final game from the First Division on the weekend was Treaty United's playoff rivals, Wexford FC. They beat Athlone 3-1 in Ferrycarrig Park on Friday evening. Aaron Dobbs got them ahead after 39. There was an equaliser from Habling, I think it's Habling or Habling, after 72 minutes for the away side. And then Connor Davis and Dinny Corcoran got the goals for Wexford to seal the win. Gary, you'd see those three names who scored for Wexford. They're all Premier Division players, really, aren't they? I mean, it's going to be a right battle between you two for that last playoff spot, because I think Bray are just out of it now.
Yeah, I think it's going to be tough for Bray. Although Bray have a run of matches, if they can pick up the points, they may come back into it. But Wexford are absolutely flying at the moment. And unfortunately, I'd probably make them slight favourites at the moment for that playoff spot. I think it's 5 matches unbeaten. I was keeping an eye on the score. I was delighted when Athlone equalised, obviously. But unfortunately, as you said, Wexford got those 2 late goals. Look, there's nothing in it at the moment. They're only ahead on goal difference. And but look, it's going to be a battle right to the end. The last game of the season, Wexford visit the Markets Field, so hopefully it'll come down to that, and could be nice to have home advantage for that. But
really, Gary, hopefully it comes down to that.
Well, hopefully we have it done before that, but I don't know. I think it's going to be nip and tuck between now and the end of the season, and if we could keep them within our sights at that point. Look, Ian Ryan's done a great job there. You mentioned the likes of the players he signed, Larkin Fitzgerald at the back and everything. They're a good side. They're playing well. Dan McDonnell, I know he tipped them at the start of the season for the playoffs, and it raised a few eyebrows. I don't think anyone's been surprised at that prediction now. They're well in the hunt for it, and they've found form in recent weeks. From my point of view, they have the top 3 to play in their next 3 games in Waterford, Galway and Cork. So I'll be hoping they don't pick up any points in those games, and maybe we can get a couple of points ahead of them. But I think it's going to be close between now and the end of the season.
Yes, extremely, extremely close. And that's the way you want it, a bit more interesting. Maybe you don't want it, but as a neutral watching on for that division, that's what I'd like to see anyway. Just a quick thing. We won't go into transfers because we are going to do a brief little show next on the next show in the next couple of minutes. But we'll wrap it up here with the LOI show. Thanks, Gary. Thanks for everything. And look, I'll see you in the next few minutes for the next show. Thanks to everyone for watching. And please don't forget to like, subscribe, and so on. Thanks very much again.
Thanks, guys.